Okay, so I tried to record this once. I messed up because the card was full. So we're gonna do this again. I'm gonna go over a video by PragerU because one of the pet peeves I have, especially when it comes to politics, is like this sort of anti-intellectualism that's like really prevalent, at least in U.S. politics. And I feel like this video is PragerU basically continuing to push that. They're basically going against college, which we can talk about how our college system is right now, which is fine. But I think the idea of higher education is good, which PragerU, the guy in this video, is basically arguing against, which is dumb. I think it's dangerous. So basically, I'm just gonna dunk on him a little bit. It should be kind of fun. All right, let's get into this.
Maybe the dumbest thing you can do is go to the place that's supposed to make you smart.
This is not the dumbest thing to do. You should definitely go to the place that's going to make you smart.
That would be college. Now, perhaps I'm biased. I don't have a college degree.
Okay, he is biased because he doesn't have a college degree and he's a right-winger, and college tends to make you more left due to being educated. So it says right here, he's the CEO and co-founder of the Daily Wire. So of course he's going to be against the thing that makes his political opponents a thing.
Although I employ a lot of people who do, and from
At least he's honest about that.
some of the most prestigious universities in the country.
Okay,
I made a conscious...
let's remember the fact that he just said that he employs people with a college education, because we're basically gonna want to come back to that, because he's arguing against education, but I don't think he's thinking about the fact that most people who are going to work are going to either want or need a higher education.
choice. I had clear career ambitions, and I didn't see how a college degree was going to get me there. In retrospect,
I also think that's really fine. I think like if you have some sort of thing that you're going to do that doesn't require college, you don't have to go do college. I don't think we should force people to go to college, but I think college should be an option, and I definitely would push people to go. I think it's a good idea overall. But I mean, if you're going to do something like maybe you want to be a freelancer or something, like it isn't required, but I guarantee there will be tools you'll learn in college that will help you out on that venture.
I'm confident I made the right decision. I'm the co-founder and co-CEO of a company called the Daily Wire.
Cringe!
We publish news and commentary from a conservative point of view. We have well over 100 employees and an audience which numbers in the...
Okay, let's remember that he says he has 100 employees and he hires people that are highly educated from like top universities. Do you think they got those jobs because they had higher education from top universities? I think that's how he picks his workers? Because I think so.
Millions every single day.
Shapiro, hold up. Where was that? I want to see that
and
again.
An audience which numbers...
Shapiro answers leftist questions. That's ironic because he doesn't. He just dodges so hard. It's so funny.
In the millions every single day. Now, I don't have a problem if you go to college. It's a free country. Do what you...
He doesn't have a problem if you go to college, yet he's about to present a whole argument of why you should.
One. But the idea that somehow college is the great pathway to success and fulfillment...
For most people,
that
it is.
I don't buy. The left takes a different view. They are obsessed with higher education. To them, it's a human right. And they...
Okay, we are obsessed with higher education because higher education leads to a better society. The more educated people you have, the better you're going to be able to progress. Unemployment goes down with a higher education. There's a lot of good things that come from education. That, of course, we're going to push for that. I mean, like, why would you want an uneducated populace? And I think it is a human right because I think it's foundational to, like, a good functioning society. And I think we all want a good functioning society. So I think we should all want people to be educated.
They want it to be free, which just means paid for by people like me. For anyone...
Yeah, I think people should have to pay into college because I think everyone probably could want college or need college. I don't think it hurts for people who don't go to pay into it. That's like saying you shouldn't pay your taxes because that end up going to the fire department because you don't want to, you may never need the fire department, or you don't want to pay into the public schools around you because you don't have kids. I mean, it's kind of a poor argument. I think, like, for the betterment of society, the society that all of us live in, we should all have some sort of responsibility in making sure that society is educated. Because that doesn't, even if you don't go, you're benefiting from other people going. Because like things that get innovated or other forms of progress are overall going to be beneficial to you, and that's going to come from higher education.
But who's 18 and can breathe. That makes perfect sense from their point of view.
Yeah, it does.
One, the idea is a big winner among young people, a critical voting bloc.
Yes, because young people have to go to, they're planning to go to school. I mean, for most people, the option is either go to school. I'm sure there's some out there who try to start a business, but usually it's either go to school or go to the military so then you can go to school. So of course people are going to want free college if they're like the younger group, because they're planning on going to school. And no one wants to go in tons of debt, and not everyone has mommy and daddy money to pay for college. So when their options are either take on debt, go to the military, or don't go to school, and they want to go to school, of course they're going to be behind free college. It just makes logical sense.
Who doesn't want something for nothing? Especially something that costs more than a Ferrari.
Okay, this isn't true. I actually, the last time I was recording this, I looked this up. A Ferrari costs around $300,000. As someone who's went to school, it does not cost that. I mean, it can, I suppose, if you go somewhere really expensive. But we're not talking about putting everyone in Harvard or something. We're talking about putting people through, like, just any four-year university. And most of them are not going to cost $300,000.
2. Colleges exist to do one thing. Create conformity of thought.
No. College, we promote diversity of thought. It's something I've learned the most from going to college. The only reason why he thinks it's conformity is because we're telling people that things are wrong and things are right, because some things are just wrong. That doesn't mean like you can't have your different opinions on the things that we're talking about that are right or wrong. But there are some things that are just wrong. Like stop signs aren't green, they're red. That's wrong. It's not conformity to know that. It's education.
And since college professors and administrators overwhelmingly lean left, it's a pretty good bet most of their students will as well.
Okay, I love when right-wingers pull this argument because I always want to ask them, do you think that has to do with being educated? Because I would argue it isn't about some sort of like, I don't think there's any like postmodern neo-Marxist brainwashing college students. I would say this happens from being educated. For instance, if you take a sociology like class, which of course the right-wingers will say is an indoctrination to the left, but they're dealing with like facts and statistics that like aid a lot of left-leaning arguments. The thing is, a lot of the left-leaning arguments are based around like actual facts and things like that, which the right claims to do, but that just isn't the case. So when you get educated, you're gonna tend to lean more left. It like this isn't some sort of indoctrination. It's just education.
But I'm being unfair, you say. After all, we live in a knowledge-based world, and America isn't making the grade. Don't you know we rank 13th in the world in reading?
True. I think this is, and he's gonna say in a minute that basically, we're lower on these things, but we have all this innovation. And as much as that's true, I don't see what the problem is with wanting to better these rankings in some sense. If anything, this should show that there's a problem with people not being able to get educated, not just people not wanting to be educated.
18th in science literacy and a pivotal 37th in math. To which I say, so what? It wasn't Singapore.
Of course you say so what. You don't care about people being educated. You care about posting like anti-intellectual things on like fucking the Daily Wire. I mean, you're an enemy to education in general because you're uneducated and you promote anti-intellectual thought.
Or that split the atom, or Estonia that mapped the human genome. America.
Okay, I love that he points to all these places as if none of the other places in the globe have ever innovated anything, which is like so dumb.
It's number 1 in Nobel Prizes awarded. Number
Cool.
1 in scientific citations issued. Number 1 in popular entertainment. And number 1 in technological.
Okay, I'm going to explain this. Basically, the reason why this is the case is because the U.S. actually has really good education. But the problem, like, we have some of the best educational institutions. The problem is, though, not all of our educational institutions are on par with that. And education is expensive. So the thing is, while we may have, like, some of the best education, we don't have a very, like, we don't have a ton of people who are getting that same level of education. Um, so yeah, of course we have innovation, Nobel Peace. I love that he points at Nobel Peace Prizes as if most people who have those aren't college educated. But of course we have all these things because we have some of the best education. We just don't have it on like a wide scale.
Advancement. In short, America creates almost everything. Even what other
We create some things. I wouldn't say almost everything.
countries manufacture was probably invented by an American, which is why we're also the #1 economy in the world by far.
Okay, we are the number one in the economy in the world currently, but that's not by far. Actually, if you look at China, they're tailing behind us, and they're growing like way faster than we are. I wouldn't be surprised if China actually ends up passing us. So this point's just kind of wrong because as much as we are the #1 economy, he says by far, which is just a lie. Like China's like right behind us.
And who made this possible? Well, here are the names of just a few of the individuals who pretty much invented the modern world. Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs.
I would like to bring up actually most of these people went to college and then dropped out during college. So they didn't graduate with a degree, which is what he's going to say, but don't conflate that with not going at all.
Michael Dell and Larry Ellison. None of them has a college degree.
Yeah.
Many of the CEOs who run the companies they created.
Exactly. So this is another point I want to make. He's going to point out the CEOs have college education, and so do most of the workers. Because in order to do a lot of the jobs, you need to be educated in these like fields. Like you don't necessarily have to have a college education to get people together to like get your vision to happen. But like if you want to program, you probably need like some sort of college education. If you want to run a business from like the CEO standpoint, you probably need some sort of education in business. Like the thing is, you don't. I think it was like Henry Ford, that said basically that he didn't need to know things; he just needed to know people who know things, which is true. Which is what most of these people like do now. They don't have to like know how to do something; they have to know someone who does. But how did that person that they know what they know from going and getting a higher education?
Do have college degrees, but the founders do not. What they do have are things colleges can't teach you: curiosity, ambition, and a willingness to.
And this is all wrong as well, because one, curiosity is big in college because people are gonna have their curiosity piqued by the multiplicity of like topics that they or fields they have to take at least one class in. So I'd say definitely curiosity is piqued. Ambition, I think it's ambitious to go to college. I mean, that's a commitment. And willingness to fail goes along with that ambition. Like, if you're going to college, you're taking the chance of, like, maybe you hate it. Maybe you get into the wrong major. I mean, you have all these things in college, so this is just wrong as well.
Those qualities almost guarantee success. College diploma doesn't.
If we were to look at unemployment, college education shows that you're more likely to be unemployed than someone who doesn't. So it doesn't guarantee success, but it's definitely an indicator of how successful you'll be.
Want to build an airplane? Engineers educated in aerodynamics are handy to have on your team.
True.
Want to invent the airplane? Well, you're better off finding a couple of restless bicycle repairmen.
Okay, so he's talking about the Wright brothers and how they didn't go to school, but they like worked in like I know it's like bicycle repair and some other like machinery. So they had an education in sort of engineering. It just wasn't a formal education. And I don't think that's an argument against formal higher education. Because all this is saying is like they didn't do that, but they were still educated enough to do this. Which is true. I mean, we have self-education now. You can self-educate to a good extent. But I don't think this says that higher education is bad. I guarantee this would have been easier if they went and did higher education in engineering or something.
That's what the Wright brothers were. It's not that colleges aren't teaching. It's that too often they're teaching the wrong things. Or they're teaching the right things the wrong way.
I don't feel like that's substantiated at all. I think he just said that.
Tech entrepreneur David Galunter says, the thing I don't look for in a developer is a degree in computer science.
Okay, when it comes to computer science, the reason why he's probably saying this has to do more with the fact that computer science is evolving a lot currently. It's like in a stage where like innovation's happening really quickly. So it's hard for schools to like keep up. So it's not enough just to have the degree in computer science. You have to be kind of on the edge of innovation as well. Which he's going to say this guy's a professor, which of course, a professor is going to know this more than anyone. He's going to know that they don't educate like well enough for them to know all the things necessary to be like super competitive in computer science. But this is like one field out of like a ton, but this is the case. And even then, the background in like majoring in computer science that you're gonna get is foundational to being able to understand these like more at the like edge of innovation ideas that are going on. This still isn't an argument against education. It's just saying that sometimes maybe the education isn't enough.
Quite a statement from a man who teaches computer science at Yale. Tech billionaire and co-founder of PayPal, Peter Thiel.
This tech billionaire, he's like saying that he pays people to not go to school, which I think is stupid. I need to look in like the context of this because I feel like he doesn't just do that because he's anti-college. That sounds really stupid.
Actually pays people not to go to college. Thiel and the worker understand that colleges are factories, and like all factories, they want to produce a consistent product.
I don't understand this because he's acting like there isn't diversity within college, that people come up with diversity in thought and education. Because really, you get what you put in with college. So not everyone comes out of college the exact same. But of course, they're going to have like some sort of baseline understanding of things because there are like certain standards we have. And I don't really see what the problems with that is. I mean, if you're going to make this against college, you should make this against like, the public education we have now currently, high school, middle school, and all of that, which I don't think anyone would dare make that argument.
That means producing people who all think alike.
Once again, not true, just not true, and not even like there's no evidence to even say that.
But innovation and entrepreneurship require people to think differently. Innovators innovate. Colleges teach those innovations.
Okay, innovators innovate, but don't you think if they were going to innovate, having a background in the education in the field, like a background of education in the field, they're going to go innovate in, would be like super helpful. It doesn't make any sense to me. And then here
after the fact.
Yeah, so they teach about the innovations after they happen. Of course they do. What are they supposed to do? Teach what's going to happen? I mean, we can predict things, but we can't know that. So of course we teach what has been innovated, so then people can build off of that. That's the whole point of school. School isn't like to like tell you what the future is, but to get you prepared to take on the future.
Professors could have taught engineers how to build the airplane in 1903. Professors would have built the airplane.
Okay, professors are teaching. That's their job. Their job, as much as some of them do independent studying and things like that, their job isn't to be the people in the field. They're educating the people to be in the field. So in this example, the professor would be, like if the Wright brothers were to go to school, the professor would have educated them to build the plane, which I guarantee would have been super helpful in them building the plane.
Before 1903, they would have invented the personal computer, Microsoft, and social media.
Once again, most of these things were innovated by people who went to school, and they're being updated by people who have gone to school. All people that work in these companies, there's some level of education necessary to work in these companies. So it doesn't make any sense. Once again, Mark Zuckerberg literally went to Harvard. So this is like so stupid.
And two, it's not only big tech where this applies. 56% of all small business owners in the United States don't have a 4-year degree.
Okay, so like half of them. It's not even a real big percentage. It's literally like half. And also a lot of small businesses, like, I don't know, this just seems dumb. It's half of all small business owners. So that means the other half do. I'm not saying a good argument against college here.
That's right. The majority of small business owners.
Majority. It is, but it's not by a big margin.
Owners who employ more than half of American workers.
Yes, and guess what? All those people who are employed probably have college education because it's probably necessary.
Either never went to or never finished college.
Most of them probably just didn't finish college. I highly doubt any of them went to college.
What all of this says to me is that while college is useful for some people, it's by no means necessary.
It's useful for most people. Of course, it's not necessary, but most people should probably go to college.
Necessary for all. And it's hardly essential for economic success, not for the individual and not for the nation.
For most people, it is essential for economic success. We look at unemployment rates, and people with higher education are more likely to be employed, and they usually make more money. So from an individual standpoint, yes. And from a national standpoint, also yes. Like we just pointed to China earlier, who was like coming up on us on being the richest, like having the best economy or whatever. And I'm pretty sure China has pretty good education.
No one is being deprived of the opportunity.
Also, let's not forget that all the Nordic countries aren't doing awful economically either. They're like behind us, and they all have free education and free healthcare. So
to succeed simply because they can't afford the university's steep price tag.
of course, people don't have to go to university to succeed, but for a lot of people, that is like one of the things they have to do to succeed. And so, yes, the university's steep price tag, as he says, is a problem because it's only most people's success.
In fact, if you go to college, there's a good chance you'll be taught how not to succeed.
That's just not true.
I think long and hard before paying for that. I'm Jeremy Bourne for Prager University. Thank you for watching.
This video is so cringe. He's pushing not going to college because honestly, the right has some strong motivations to be anti-college. Because, like he pointed out, one of his main arguments was that people tend to lean left after going to school, and this is the case. But like I said, it's education, it isn't indoctrination. So of course, the less educated your populace is, the easier it is to manipulate them to continue working for like blood-sucking like capitalist, basically. I mean, like, it's just, and also it helps like the certain like conservative parties maintain power as well, because as people get educated, they tend to lean against that, and it's just not in those dudes' interest. So of course, him and most people on the right are going to be anti-intellectual, anti-education, because it's undermining their like economic or cultural interests, basically their class interests. But it's really dumb. I really hope people don't take this kind of stuff seriously. College is really important. I understand that's really not easy to afford, but I don't think that means we should tell people not to go. If anything, I think that means we should be fighting to have like free school, or at least cheaper school. At least have like community colleges be free. I mean, these things wouldn't be that expensive, especially when we look at things like our military budget and whatnot. And a lot of these guys argue, this guy wouldn't have arguments if it was free, really. Maybe we wouldn't have dumb folks like this too if everyone was educated. So, with that being said, go to school.